Zombies, father and son. 2 feet from him, but separated by their individual universes, figures shrouded in green examine the moving graphic picture of his brain. On the AI screen, the surgical blade moves like a ship in space towards its destination, the blood clot. For Richard Claver, the patient, there is a sea of forgetfulness, where all physical realities have dissolved into a quiescent darkness, a state of non-being hanging in time and space. Only the distant throbbing drum of his heart informs his mind that he is alive. He does not have access to his memories, his family, his work, his social life, nor to those final moments before collapsing on the kitchen floor. He does not know that his son, Latham, is leading the team trying to save his life. Latham guides the blade, eye on screen, millimetre by millimetre, edging towards first contact. It may be his father's cranium under his fingers, but his mind tries to see only the clot, his ice-steady fingers guiding the blade. He shuts out his relationship with his father, the emotional gap between them, the unexpressed anger, the unrequited needs. The blade makes contact and begins to cut. Far from this family drama, at the same time in a laboratory in another part of the United States, a 75-year-old surgeon, the same age as the patient, Richard Claver, is looking down at a middle-aged patient, much the same age as Richard's son, Latham. This patient is a heroin addict. He has just succumbed to the trauma of the operation, and his heart has stopped. They cannot resuscitate. The surgeon, named Josephine Minsky, while distressed to lose a patient, is waiting, expectant. Her eyes never leave the EEG machine that had been monitoring blood flow. Then it happens. There is a sudden burst of activity. She nods to herself. The patient's zombie cells have resurrected and are now tidying up his brain like a mix of undertaker and embalmer. Just as, in the beginning, they nurtured the growth of the individual's first stem cells, like midwives. As part of their final work, they give their host a last hurrah, a parting gift of what has become an existential cliché. The golden light at the end of the tunnel. Josephine Minsky has enough data now to write her research article. The Neuroscientific Paradox: How Vivid Experiences Can Emerge from a Chaotic, Disintegrating Brain During the Process of Dying. Latham Claver cuts away more of the clot. Suddenly, despite all the care being given, his father convulses and his heart stops. It refuses revival. There is silence in the theatre and a frozen immobility for several minutes. As the nurses cover his body, his father's mind sinks to the bottom of the sea of forgetfulness. But even there, beyond death, something is stirring. Cells don't want to die. But because the surgical team have unhooked the technology, they see no evidence of it. They don't see the dormant zombies returning to life, their strange tentacles lengthening. and as they congregate in his deceased brain, Richard has a burst of awareness. He experiences a second coming, an epiphany. How do you condense a life into 2 or 3 minutes? The inexplicable enigma of it. For that is what it comes down to. A flash of multisensual kaleidoscopic beauty, like a cosmic projector fueling up, whirring and focusing on a white screen, then beginning to roll through memory at high speed. It begins with the pitch-black mystery of pre-birth and gives way to a wild train journey through an incandescently beautiful landscape. The first carriage contains birth, the second his childhood, the third his adolescence, and on, event after event, peopled by family, friends and acquaintances. This stretching, almost limitless train racing through time until the final carriage. And there he is, on the ceiling, looking down at himself on the hospital bed in the theatre, with his son and his son's team around him. And he tries to speak to his son, to say he is sorry for his parenting, how he wanted to tell him how proud he was of him, how much he loved him. Instead, helpless, he watches as his son guides the robotic knife, enters his brain, and begins to remove a clot. Then the scene fades, and Richard is finally no more. So there we have Zombies, Father and Son. I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't know anything about these cells until a day or two ago, nor did medical science until recently. The idea that we live on for a while after so-called brain death has been with us as a myth for aeons, of course. But these curious cells that predate stem cells and outlive all our other cells are with us for life. I have no doubt they hold more secrets. Only time will tell. Many of the stories on this channel have been stimulated by breakthroughs in science. Just check them out and see. If, in the meantime, you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and you will receive advanced warning when the next story emerges. If you like to read as well as listen, you can go to my website, www.jacksanger.com, and there you can download for free, or make a donation, for novels, plays, short stories, poetry, and some Zen non-fiction. In the meantime, go in peace. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.